Hi there and welcome back to my channel. This is Sean, the Honest Book Reviewer. It's time to pick my favourite covers for books I read during 2024. So, for the whole year, for each 3 months of the year, each quarter, I go through books I read for those 3 months and I choose my favourite covers. There's no limit to how many covers I can choose, but generally I choose maybe 6, 7 or 8 covers for those 3 months. It can change depending on how many covers I really like during those 3 months. So for some 3-month periods, the number of covers can be fewer or more than other 3-month periods. But now it's time to choose my favourite 3 covers. And for each quarter of the year, each 3-month period, I'll select 2 covers to go into that final lot. So out of 8 covers for the whole year, I select my final 3, my favourite 3. Let's start now by looking at the covers I selected for January, February and March in 2024. So out of that selection, I'll choose 2 covers to go into the final. And the first choice is Robocalypse, written by Daniel H. Wilson. I like this cover a lot. It feels so simple, but also so sinister. And that image of the robot or android looking at you and the colour of the eyes. It's like the cover's watching you. You look at the cover and you're wondering, what is this all about? Is that android or robot evil, good, whatever? And that made me want to read this book. The cover made me want to read the book. I want to know more about the story. A great cover choice, I think. Very sinister, very simple, very clean and fresh, but a great cover. The second cover to reach the final is The Woman in the Library, written by Sulari Gentill. I like this cover a lot. I like the colour choice. I like the layout. I like that it reminds me of old-time movie posters. Looking at this cover, I think classic mystery. I think something a bit sinister maybe. You know it's going to be a murder because you've got a woman on the cover screaming. So all this kind of thing ties into what the book's about. The colour choice is great. The layout is great. You may think the layout's very simple. I don't think so. I think everything on the cover is positioned quite cleverly. You can look at the cover and read the title quite clearly. I like the way the title is kind of blended in with the imagery on the cover as well. I like a lot about this cover, very clever. So now let's look at the covers I selected from April, May and June. And then I'll select 2 covers to go to the final from that selection. So okay, we've refreshed our memories. Now, the first cover from that group to go to the final is The Book of Doors, written by Gareth Brown. This cover is very intricate, it's very clever, very eye-catching. I like the colour choices, I like the shades of blue, I like the books used in the imagery as well. I mean, the title is The Book of Doors. And then we have books on the cover making a staircase, and books also forming doorways. And that's interesting because it makes you think straight away. It's all about doorways and books. I mean, it matches the title of the story. And then the way the cover's laid out as well. We have that gold, intricate kind of detail in the corners. And the way it's laid out that way, it makes me think that the book you're holding could be one of the special books that's mentioned in the title. So it's interesting because it's like a book within a book within a book, all different types of book things going on the cover. Very clever, very eye-catching. This cover is very intricate as well. A great cover. The second book to reach the final from this group is A Curious Beginning, written by Deanna Raybourn. I like this cover very much. It's like a painting. It's like this should be a painting in a gallery or a museum. We have the image of a woman in the foreground, and straight away from the way she's dressed, you know it's historical. And then you have the street she's on as well. You have a lamp that's not very bright. It's like the lamp is shrouded in some sort of mist or fog. Then in the background, you have fog and mist as well. So with that lamp and the fog, you think mystery. You think something maybe sinister. You wonder what's going on in that fog. And then you wonder where it's foggy, you know, what kind of city is foggy and what's that time period that it's set in. So all that makes you wonder about this story, makes me wonder anyway. You know it's historical, and you know it's about a female character. The protagonist has to be female because of what's on the cover. I thought that anyway from the cover. So for me, great cover looks like a painting to me, not a book cover. Looks like it should be on a wall in a gallery or a museum. So now we have 4 books going to the final. We're halfway. Now let's refresh our memories for July, August and September. What were the book covers I chose originally from those months? The first book from that selection to go to the final is A Killer Clue, written by Victoria Gilbert. I like this cover very much. I like the colour choice. The way it's drawn, the imagery, reminds me of a leather cover for an old book. I mean, it looks like that. It looks like it's a red leather cover. And the gold imagery looks like the embossing on the cover as well. So it just looks like an old book to me. And then you have imagery as well of the magnifying glass, of that envelope with the fingerprint, of other things on the cover as well. So straight away, you know mystery, you know clues. It's like on this cover, somebody's hunting for clues on this book cover. You wonder, a book's part of the mystery. What is important about this cover to make it look like an old book? So that just ties into the story as well. So a clever cover, great color choices, everything on this cover, everything that's on the cover, every selection, every choice made for this cover is brilliant in my view. A wonderful cover, and I just think it tells you so much of what the book should be about. Home is Where the Bodies Are, written by Geneva Rose. This cover is clever, this cover is fun. This cover reminds me straight away of 1990s or something, that period, because it's a VHS tape. And to make it a VHS tape for the whole cover, I think is so clever. And then you have a cracked cover, a cracked tape, and blood on the tape as well. And you immediately think, well, it's something dangerous, something sinister. This tape holds clues to something. This tape is central to the story, or somebody's damaged this tape in the story. Whatever it is, this tape is important. This VHS tape is important to the whole story. So on the cover itself, it tells you everything you need to know about what to expect in this story. I just think it's very clever, very fun, very eye-catching. This cover made me want to read this book. This cover made me excited to read the book. So I also thought it'd be set in, a period like 1990s, and that made me just think, well, I like that period. I want to read a story in that period. Okay, we're almost there. We have 2 more books to choose from the months of October, November and December. Let's refresh our memories on the covers I selected from those months originally. From that group, the first book to reach the final is Cycle of the Werewolf, written by Stephen King. I mean, this cover has it all. It's colourful and vibrant, but also sinister and scary. We have werewolves breaking into a church. We have some werewolves having reflected light on them, making them look orange and red and yellow, like flames, like danger, like evil. Then their shadows on the wall as well look evil, they're darker, they're sinister. So everything about this cover works because it just tells you it's going to be about a horror story. It's about werewolves. It's about danger, about evil things, sinister things. This cover works very well. It's detailed, it's intricate, very cleverly done. It looks like an artwork as well. This cover is great. Okay, so the second book from this group and the final book to reach the final is The Treasure Hunters Club, written by Tom Ryan. I like this cover a lot. Despite red not being my favourite colour, I like the colour choices on this cover. They work well together. I like the font of the title, that it's so prominent and so easy to read. I like that blue shade and the lines of the blue as well. You think sky, but then you look at the lines and you think water, you think waves and ocean. I like the imagery on the cover. We have a treasure map, we have a treasure chest, we have other things there as well. So you think adventure, mystery, treasure. You think all those things by looking at this cover. This cover is very clever, very eye-catching. This cover made me want to read this book. And I think if you see this in a bookstore or a library, your eye will be drawn to it because it's so vibrant, so colourful, and it feels very simple, but it's not. It's very cleverly done, very cleverly spaced out on the cover. I think it's a great cover. So I selected my favourite 8 covers for books I read during 2024. Remember, is for books I only read during 2024. Not books I haven't read yet, not books I read earlier, but from that year only. So from this group of 8, let's choose my top 3 now. So at number 3, my choice is A Killer Clue, written by Victoria Gilbert. At number 2, my choice is The Book of Doors, written by Gareth Brown. At number 1, my choice is Home is Where the Bodies Are, written by Geneva Rose. So there you have my favourite covers for books I read during 2024. I wonder, for the covers mentioned in this video, what were your favourites? Do you agree with my top 3? Would you choose other books? Let me know. Let me know your favourite covers for books you read during the year, and let me know your favourite covers for the books I mentioned in this video. On my channel, I review books of all different genres. Check out my channel and subscribe. On the screen now is a link to another video for a book I'm sure you'll enjoy.